Good morning, bedheads. Click! I'm finally using my what the hell mug. Okay, we're going 3D today, so hang in there. I think this is important for all Americans and probably everybody else in the world to listen to. Okay, this is a non-partisan discussion about what's going on in the United States, how the executive branch of the United States is breaking the law of the Constitution. And this is not coming from me. I'm going to explain. I just watched this video from a U.S. Air Force major of 20 years, and he is defending his oath of the Constitution that he took to defend America against foreign and domestic. Okay? If you voted for Trump, you're just going to have to take one on the chin. That's all there is to it at this point. Okay? So, buckle up. It's okay. We all have to take responsibility for the stuff we do. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't be looking at what he's actually done. And I think that's the important thing about this conversation today. So like I said, we're going 3D today. But you know what? I have a background in social work. So my undergraduate is social work and my master's is in public administration. Maybe many of you don't know that. But I was trained, who knows, brainwashed, whatever, to be an activist. That was my undergraduate. So it's been hard for me to just stay in the 5D, I'll tell you that, when it comes to using this platform. So I am hoping that we can have this conversation today, just openly, non-partisan. So this is bipartisan, okay? So, and that's actually what this Air Force major, that's how he approached this. So I'm basically going to go over what he talked about. Please, at the end, let's agree to all either send his video to all of our representatives. I just don't even understand. I really don't understand, as I've been sitting in the 5D watching the 3D. I don't really understand why people aren't doing anything about the laws that are being broken. That's the issue. If this was a Democrat breaking the laws, we'd be saying the same thing. And maybe Biden broke the laws. I don't know, but why aren't we saying anything? It's time that we need to stand up and be like, what the hell? We got to get past what the hell phase, This is in our shop, by the way, our mug shop. If anybody wants I do need to improve it a little bit. I got to raise this up a little bit. So by the time this airs, I'll see if my sister can put it on sale for you. Okay? And it'll be on both sides. Right now it's not on both sides, but I will do some improvements in the shop on that. Okay, so active duty U.S. Air Force major with more than 20 years of military service. His name is Major Jason Watson. He's in this video that I am posting below for you. He is in Washington in front of a microphone declaring what I'm going to tell you. Okay. So he says his oath is to defend the U.S. Constitution, not any president or political party. And that is true for every single military person in the United States. That's the part that has always flummoxed me right now with what's going on. I don't understand it. And we obviously are not putting enough pressure on our Congress to enact this. So we just need to go 3D for a minute and put on a little pressure. Okay. So Major Jason Watson spoke publicly in support of impeaching President Trump and Vice President Vance, saying he believes they violated the Constitution. So this is not up for debate. He has some very specific examples. So it's not up for debate. You can't be like, oh, he didn't do that. Yes, he did. Okay. That's the thing. That's why I don't understand why, the No Kings is done, you guys. Like, There's no more of that. And I don't think those protests were good to bring people together, but there was no call to action afterwards. Now, maybe they are doing things in smaller groups and local, which is fine. And I know that a lot of the progressive socialist, if we have to give them a title, like someone like there are candidates right now who are coming up who actually want to do stuff for the people, not Democrat, not Republican, but to actually do things for the people. What a concept. That I'm all behind. I'm completely behind that. In fact, I live in a very small town next to a big town, and we had a mayor election, and there was two Democrats running, but one was much more socialist and the other one was was a Democrat, a traditional Democrat, and the socialist one in our small town. I voted for her. Because the Democrat was like approving more and more apartment buildings to, that people are, that these companies are charging $3,000 for a 1-bedroom. I mean, it's ridiculous. Nobody can live in those, unless you have like a really good job. And, we just, all of a sudden we have like a gazillion apartment buildings going up around us. It's just ridiculous. So that's just one example. Okay. So Major Jason Watson is working with Congressman Al Green. Al Green is like the only, as far as I can see, the only one who's taken this stuff seriously. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure there's others, but so he is a Democratic congressman from Texas who has served in Congress since 2005. Excuse me. He has introduced multiple impeachment resolutions against President Trump. His efforts have not succeeded because they have not received enough votes in the House of Representatives. Major Watson says he joined Green because he is the only member of Congress who has consistently forced impeachment votes. Okay, so the constitutional violation that he lists, go look these up yourself. Again, is this up for debate? It's not a debate. Don't get in the comments and start debating about how great anyone is. If you're doing that, then you are in a cult. I'm just telling you that right now. When I vote for whoever I vote for, I'm not bending the knee to that president. If you're bending a knee and be like, oh, I just love him so much, then you're in a cult. Don't do that. I'm just sorry, I'm being frank. I'm probably going to lose a ton of subscribers. But we're going 3D today. I told you we were. We won't stay in 3D. So, but every once in a while, I'm just like, oh my God, I'm like bursting. I just have to talk about this. So, but this is not up for debate. If you go and you find out that he did these things that I'm going to list right now, then if you are supporting him still, then you are not truly living by the American Constitution. That's all there is to it, period. It doesn't matter whether you vote for him or not. You are not an American living by the rules of the Constitution if you continue to support this behavior. That's all there is to it. Sorry. Throat chakra. My throat chakra is like, yeah, you're finally speaking up again. Okay. These are what he violated, and then we'll be done with this. War Powers Clause. Ordering military action without authorization from Congress. You'll have to listen to the video because he has reasons why that, like, you can make up your excuses, but Trump said this. It's an emergency. No, not with what he did with Venezuela, Cuba. That's all a grift. That's all a grift. Okay, let me get a little bit more specific. Okay, so War Power Clause, Article 1, ordering military action against foreign countries without congressional authorization when there is no imminent threat to the United States. Yes, if you go back and watch videos of Bibi saying since 1990, there's 30 days and Iran will have, 30 days. He's been saying it for 30 years. Okay. And yeah, whatever. Okay. But he did it in Venezuela. Okay. If you're going to argue about Iran, so be it. Okay. With whatever he says was going on in Iran. Okay. But he did it in Venezuela. And Jason, the major, mentions Cuba too. So I don't even know what we did there. Okay, appointments clause, giving an unelected private citizen broad authority over parts of the federal government without Senate confirmation. That was Elon going around getting all of our information. Remember that? That was unconstitutional. That was Article 2, appointments clause. Appropriations clause, Congress power of the purse, allowing the executive branch to shut down or redirect government programs without authorization from Congress. Remember when he closed the federal government? Yeah, my husband didn't get paid for months on end, and many others. So that was fun. The Fifth Amendment, denying due process by detaining and deporting individuals without the legal protections guaranteed by the Constitution. I don't care how you feel about immigrants and, okay, Biden let in a whole bunch of immigrants to improve the economy because they just kept dragging out this whole economic issue because the Democrats were in power. So they wanted the economy to flourish during that time. Okay, whatever. That was wrong. Yes, it was. But, we're not talking about him right now. We are talking about who is in power right now. Okay. But it doesn't matter what our opinions are about immigrants in this country. They, under our Constitution, are supposed to get due process, and they are not. So they are breaking the law of our Constitution. That is the Fifth Amendment. You can't argue that. You cannot argue that. The Eighth Amendment, sending detainees to prison conditions he describes as cruel and inhumane. The Second Amendment, statements and actions by administration officials that he says infringe on Americans' rights to keep and bear arms. He is talking about, and he mentions a few situations in Minnesota. Okay. Congressional oversight, refusing congressional access to inspect immigration detention centers. They've refused to allow congressional access to inspect immigration detention centers. Our entire military is under this oath of foreign and domestic terrorists. This is domestic. And if you don't think that he can do this to you, I've been sitting around for months with this kind of on my mind of, when I was younger, I used to say, how did Hitler get away with what he did? How did he do it? And, he didn't just show up one day and boom, there was concentration camps. This is what it looked like. And I keep in the back of my mind, I'm like, this is how he did it. He did it slowly. He flooded the zone. He brainwashed a whole bunch of people. He made people divide. It was the division. It was the we're better than them. And then he was breaking the laws and nobody was holding them accountable. This is how they did it. This is exactly how they did it. So what the hell? What the hell? What the hell? And I literally was like, I remember when I was younger and I was like, I would never let that happen. Where if I were a German back then, I would have never done that. Yeah, we're all just sitting around watching it. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? I just needed to get this out. And you know what? I got a little bit of a platform here. So it's like, let's do something. If you can do anything, it would. I got more to list here. Forward and share that video so that it can go a little bit further. There's only 75,000 views on it, so I'll link it below. Send it out. Watch it in its entirety. That'll help it. Give it a thumbs up. Comment on it. Not the one you're watching me. I mean, give me a thumbs up. That'd be helpful. But you don't have to do that. That's not the video I want to go viral. It's the majors video. And then send that video to all of your Congress people and say, I support, if these things are true, I support an impeachment because this is domestic terrorism. It's domestic terrorism. And don't just send it to your Democratic. Send it to all. That's the minimum of what I'm going to do, you know? So frustrating. Okay, let's see. Okay, so we did congressional oversight, refusing congressional access to inspect immigration detention facilities, abuse of executive authority, using executive agencies to pressure media organizations, colleges, and law firms. Oh my God, he was doing that right in the beginning. And I'm sorry, again, if you voted for him, stop being in denial about this stuff. He did these things. Go look for it. You're not being fed the accurate information. He did these things. Okay? This is bipartisan at this point. This has nothing to do. We are, and everyone's be like, you're talking about Hitler again. Yeah, I'm not saying he is, but there's potential. It's very parallel. It's very parallel. There is potential. This is how it happened. Now I understand, now that I'm 56. I always wondered. Even when I went to Germany, I was 18 when I went to Germany, and I remember even looking around with the people like, wow, you guys let that happen? How did you guys let that happen? How did you allow all those people to go in those concentration camps and to be murdered like that? Like, how did you let that happen? I remember feeling that way. I went there for 3 weeks as an exchange student. And I just remember that feeling like, and that was in 1987. So that was only 40 years after the war ended. So those people, that's crazy to me now that I think about it. Because those people, I stayed with a family, and let's just say the parents were in their 30s, that means their parents were a part of that whole thing. One way or another. I don't know what role they took. I never asked. That's fascinating to me. What are you going to be able to say? What are we going to be able to say if this thing continues to build? What are we going to do? What the hell? What the hell? We know for a fact Stephen Colbert lost his job because of this. He lost his job because of this. That was pressure on media organizations. That is abuse of executive authority under the Constitution. Presidential pardons. Trading pardons in exchange for political donations. He's done that. How do you guys like the fact that he pardoned people who were tried by their peers for January 6th? They were tried by their peers. If you've been brainwashed around that whole thing, we all have. Both sides have been brainwashed around that whole thing. But they were tried by their peers. So what? You don't believe in our justice system? Well, he pardoned all of those people. Tariffs, imposing tariffs that he says Jason says, exceed the presidential constitution and statutory authority 100%. Those tariffs are not legal according to the Constitution. Department of Justice, using the Justice Department against political opponents while failing to prosecute political allies. 14th Amendment, attempting to end birthright citizenship through executive order rather than through the constitutional amendment process. If you don't believe in birthright citizenship, there's a process according to our Constitution that he has to go through, and he is not doing that. He is trying to bypass it. So the conclusion is, Jason says, these actions constitute high crimes and misdemeanors. He is a major in our military. Who's saying this? 20 years. Just think of the sacrifice he is making right now to do that. So what kind of sacrifice can we make to support him? Think of the sacrifice he is making right now. But we need more people to do that. Where's all our generals? What's going on? Do our generals just work for Bibi? What's happening? You got to ask these questions. And you know what? It's probably not going to be too much longer where I can actually have a video like this. If this continues, we're not going to be able to talk like this. I guarantee it. Because I've already heard that he's already going, apparently, I haven't looked this up, but those on the left, David Pakman, some of the other, because they have a lot of people, a lot of followers, that their names are on the White House website somewhere as like they're trying to go after them. So I haven't looked that up. I just heard that. So that's speculation. So anyways, yeah, this major of our military, one person speaking up needs to be listened to. He is doing this because he took an oath. What's your oath? Did you not? I mean, we haven't taken an oath, but how many times in grade school did you stand up and pledge allegiance to the flag? If you pledge allegiance to our flag, you didn't pledge allegiance to Trump. You didn't pledge allegiance to Biden. You didn't pledge allegiance to the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. You pledge allegiance to the flag. So we all need to get our heads out of our asses and look at our allegiance to the flag, period. That's it. And act from there. Act from there. Stop fighting about who's right and who's wrong. Doesn't matter. Pledge your allegiance to the flag and act from there. Act accordingly. Heads out of asses. All right? That's my little pep talk for today. Okay, bedheads. That's what I got for you today. I'm sorry. That video got me fired up. I'm going to keep this one short so you will go and watch that one and hopefully take some action. And I'm going to spend my day taking a little action with this as well. All right. Take care. I'll see you tomorrow. We're going back to the 5D tomorrow. So see ya. Bye.